Alright, let's prepare ourselves the biggest thing we need to take care of for the sake of this video, if you can clearly tell from this point right about now. But before we get onto that, however, though, hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario Sunshine for the Nintendo GameCube. So last time we have managed to able to 100% completely though, in terms of going back onto Peanut Park for obtaining the first 100 coin Shine Sprite, and also we did manage to able to conclude the final 2 missions in Peanut Park, and also we managed to gather ourselves all of the blue coins on that particular world, and same applies to Bianco Hills as well, and beyond in Bianco Hills we also did manage to tackle through obtaining the 100 coin Shine Sprite mission as well. So today for this episode, as you can clearly see on screen right about now, we're about to be heading back onto Ricco Harbor because we're about to take on the forms of the final mission in the whole entire portion of this world, and that appears to be none other than Yoshi's Fruit Adventure. And it's a good thing that we actually did save this until later, once you've unlocked Yoshi to able to actually just to get a ride on him, so that way you can now able to actually access this mission, so thankfully you don't have to worry about the forms of likely trying to deal with likely multitasking stuff. So even then though, speaking of multitasking actually, is the fact that as you can tell from the actual time length for the sake of this video, this is gonna be the longest episode yet, like literally the longest episode yet, because in addition to able to actually going back onto Ricco Harbor just to take care of the forms of, well, of course the Yoshi's Fruit Adventure after all, for the sake of the entire mission itself, but also we might actually decide to able to actually go ahead and go after not only all of the blue coins, or the last few blue coins in Ricco Harbor, and especially noticeable in Gelato Beach, but also we're about to be able to, hopefully we're trying to able to actually just to complete those 2 worlds in general, so that way we can able to do Ricco Harbor, and finally, of course, Gelato Beach. So this might be a double to world completion syndrome. So even then, I do apologize for that specific tongue twisting right there, just because of how the fact there's not much else I can really speak of. And look at that, 101 blue coins that we've got. So even then though, I think I'm pretty much missing something, such as of course this particular mark I was missing on. So before we get on to the actual mission itself, I'm obviously going to be going after the next set of blue coins, which as you can tell, I've got 9 left, so hopefully we would find the rest by the time whenever we're able to get onto the forms of the fresh start, where it comes to be more accurate, trying to get onto the next world. So, because hopefully, by the time with the forms of likely this Wednesday, potentially, because today's day is the 16th of March today, according to the actual uploading schedules in mind. About the fact the matter is though, is the fact that we just want to get these uploading schedules of this as fast as possible before March will able to end, so but God knows when world that's going to be appeared on. I'm not exactly 100% sure about that yet. But anyways, let's go ahead and just eat some more of those blue butterflies. So once you're done with that, you will get yourselves, of course, the next blue coin. And because also, the reason why we did manage to skip over that particular spider from that specific side of the wall, because there are a few rare occasions where most people seem to already attempt to able to kill that spider on the wall, and I think this will able to give us the blue coin after all. But alternatively, like I just did right there, I can simply just able to use Yoshi to able to eat the actual spider up, and that way it'll make things a little bit easier for ourselves just to able to obtain a blue coin itself. So yeah, that's how it goes basically in terms of likely trying to able to go for those blue coins in mind. But even then though, I know you guys might be able to still find this a little bit time consuming still, just because of how the fact that there's a lot of blue coins to collect this time around compared to some amounts in journey forms of Super Mario 64 and stuff, apart from the fact that adding to your coins counter and stuff. So this is how the entire mission plays out in terms of Yoshi's Fruit Adventure. As you can see, we always ended up getting the forms of the purple variation of himself, probably because that we do need to able to only access to Purple Yoshi by simply delivering him a Durim. Oh my god, that was close. Anyway though, so yeah, the entire mission can be summed up as like this. We need to make our way all the way to this specific point right there. So as a result, you have to able to actually continuously try to utilize with that fruit platforms by simply spraying onto those little weird cheap looking enemies. And then if you try to spray onto them, then this actually creates a actual fruit block platform, as you can clearly see. And remember, with all these yellow stuff that we've already on about, specifically where we're trying to get rid of them, well, that's how you have to do it, basically. Also, alternatively, though, you can simply use the actual first-person camera view onto that specific angle, as you can clearly tell. And that way you can able to get rid of that yellow stuff. And then, thankfully, it does not go respawn, so even then, no, it's gone completely. So even then, no, you don't have to worry about this too much. Apart from, I just let Yoshi go, aren't I? I'm so sorry, Yoshi! This means I have to find another way to get up there somehow. But luckily for me, if I was gonna able to find myself the actual rocket nozzle, as you can see, this means I can able to actually go back from there, so that way I could able to actually just to do it from here. So, but anyways, enough about that, Jibby Jabba. So let's go ahead and before we're able to obtain the Shine Sprite itself, we need to go ahead and take care of the actual blue coins itself first. So, still it's a little bit time consuming, sure, because even then, no, there's going to be a lot of stuff to collect. Especially how the fact that whenever we get onto Gelato Beach at some point, oh man, it will get a lot more tedious than ever will be, because even then, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. Anyways, let's go ahead and obtain the next blue coin for this spot. And there's going to be another one in... I will classify for saying over towards this particular caged tower thing right there that we've already done since episode 3. And as a result, there's that hidden enemy right there, which contains a blooper of all things. And that way, it should able to give us a blue coin straight off the bat. So, yeah, that's how it goes basically. So either way though, let's just go ahead and drop ourselves from down here. And I think there's going to be another blue coin that's going to be onto that specific... I won't classify for saying just trying to able to go through over there, perhaps. And then hopefully we would be able to... Oh, jeez! Oh no, I'm just feel a little bit clumsy, aren't I? If you couldn't tell already for this point, that the reason why I'm just going a little bit overly clumsy, as you can see from the actual perspectives, as you can see right there, in terms of trying to accomplish both things. Most notably because I was a little bit so tired. Not just because of the forms of trying to be super careless about the forms of trying to look after ourselves after that stupid coronavirus that's been going on, but also I could not sleep well last night, so as a result, yeah, that's how it goes when it comes to more accurately certain stuff that's usually been happening. So, unfortunately, seemingly the case that it just happens, you know? But anyways, let's go ahead and just spray onto this wall here, and that way we should able to come across into, what else? The next blue coin right there. So, hold on just a moment, guys. Okay, I did a brief jump cut right there, just because I just need to double check if I was going to be able to look up on something to see if how the fact that where the next few blue coins are. So either way though, it's a good thing that we're going to be using the turbo nozzle for the next 2 blue coins, just because that if you try to do this with the normal flood or normal spray flood or something like that, it might be pretty possible, but at the same time it might be pretty tricky to obtain. So basically we just need to keep on spraying to here, and then basically what we need to do is just basically just become the fastest thing alive, and oh! And there we go. Whew. That's a little bit too close right there, but we need to do the same thing from here. Thankfully though, the second incarnation of that specific segment, as you can see right there, is actually a little bit easier than the first one. This is probably because, if you couldn't tell already, you can also utilize these particular flip sewers, as you can see right there, by simply obtaining, well, just trying to simply using the ground pound. And that way you can able to, not only just trying to able to skip over for that little wall jump kind of hovering kind of style, but it's also the fact that you would able to actually access to the quickest methods to, you know, try to obtain the actual blue coin itself as much as you can. So, but yeah, that's how it goes basically. So anyways, let's go ahead and I'm presuming we might as well able to get our rocket nozzle back again. So hopefully we would. Oh jeez, I just realized I'm missing one blue coin left. So yeah, that's kind of a nuisance anyway. And speaking of a nuisance, I just knocked out of myself from able to open up the rocket nozzle, but at least thankfully we can able to obtain it from here. And let's go ahead and try to wrap things up with, you know, Yoshi's Fruit Adventure. And then after we're done with that specific mission, as you can see, then we can hopefully try to deal with the forms of the last Shine Sprite that we need to take care of on this world. And that is, of course, the 100 coin Shine Sprite mission. So, or to be more accurate, 100 coin Shine Sprite, if you want to call it that specifically. So, but then again, as long as you're able to actually get rid of this yellow slimy stuff with, of course, Yoshi's Fruit Spray, you don't have to worry about trying to able to get Yoshi again. But it's pretty sad to say able to notice that I don't have Yoshi with me, so. But at least we already technically celebrate with Yoshi to able to obtain a Shine Sprite ever since in Bianco Hills. But either way though, that's how it goes basically. Alright, so apologize for that specific awkward dialogue for this point, folks. This is probably because I'm about to be prepared to do the longest task ever when it comes to this particular episode itself, or this particular video I should say. I think the biggest recommendation when it comes to doing the 100 coin Shine Sprite is, I think it's in episode 8, because I did manage to accidentally select episode 2 to be able to obtain the 100 coin Shine Sprite. Unfortunately for me though, it's not possible to able to accomplish that. But before we get into that actually, there was that one missing blue coin I was going to be on about, and that was of course this particular spider that has been creeping up in during that. Mario, can you just ground pound him please? Come on, thank you. And then if you hear that blue coin jingle right there, this means, yeah, we've now got ourselves every single of those blue coins in Ricco Harbor. So even then, that pretty much takes care from here. So even then, now we need to mainly focusing on the actual 100 coin Shine Sprite at this point right about now. I'm pretty sure that this might be actually be the second most tedious 100 coin Shine Sprite on that specific world like this. But the most annoying of the bunch, it was actually Gelato Beach, and it's also time consuming too, because, well, we'll discuss more about it whenever we're able to actually get onto that specific stuff, believe me. But either way though, that's how it goes basically. So either way though, that makes it a little bit obvious for that point. So, of course, not much else has been going on for the sake of this point today, apart from the fact that for the Animal Crossing fans out there, that, yes, they actually got themselves about 4 more days to go until the Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch will be releasing in during 4 days' time, or somewhat lesser than that, because obviously we're going to be still uploading these kinds of videos during at some point during 5 PM, depending on the time zone in the forms of the different countries and what have you. So, at least expecting that most other fans of Animal Crossing will finally get a chance to able to play around with Animal Crossing New Horizons and during this Friday potentially, so. But that's how it goes basically, so even then though, and also around the same day actually, as in Animal Crossing New Horizons game was about to be releasing, Mario Party 10 for the North American version as well as the UK version will become 5 years old as well. So even then though, I can't even believe the time itself just managed to go extremely flying by for this point recently. Probably because of how the fact that despite we actually got ourselves tons of games during the past, ever since in well, I would say thanks to the forms of those Nintendo Directs in the past, but it seems at this point right now we are still pretty much bare bones as we can get. But at least we're hoping we can able to get not only just for getting ourselves one Nintendo Direct, specifically, according to rumors, they might actually give us ND Showcase first, and then the General Direct afterwards, but even then, it's hard to tell at the moment, just because of how the fact that, well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there, and during at some point throughout the majority of this week, so... And then whenever we get onto the forms of, you know, some more 100 coin Shine Sprites during the forms of the next 3 worlds in the future, because I say 3 worlds, next 3 worlds potentially, because either way though, we almost pretty much conclude Ricco Harbor, as you can clearly tell. Now after we're done with this world, then we can move on to Gelato Beach just to get that 100 coin Shine Sprites done and over with on that world, especially how tedious that particular method can be. And hopefully we'll get onto the next new worlds that we can able to hop into during at some point in this Wednesday in particular. Because then again, that Piglet at the moment at this rate, that he will be still tackling through some more uploading schedules on, you know, Yoshi's Crafted World. So, talking of which actually, because of how the fact that recently he's now able to actually get onto the forms of the next few worlds in particular. So, even then though, so far, that he's still pretty much on Cardstock Carnival. I think that's what the actual, the next world is called. Which, according to the actual progress on it so far, that he's actually doing pretty okay as it goes by, especially how the fact that, well, that at this point in time, about the fact that Piglet has managed to able to gather himself, there's going to be annoying moments like some of these coins just trying to able to drop down, such as these segments, as you can see right there sometimes, because whenever I'm trying to able to deal with those bloopers on these segments, as you can see right there, sometimes most of these coins will attempt to drop off for likely off into that specific intervals, as you can see right there, which is a little bit of annoying, but hey, at least we can able to actually grab some more of those normal yellow coins, or normal coins I should say, so that way we can able to obtain them with trying to hop onto the crane and everything, so... I know guys, I know there's not much else I can speak of, and speaking of which actually, is the fact that this might actually be one of these episodes that we're probably not going to be gathering that much in terms of Shine Sprites, I'm afraid. Probably because of how the fact that ever since in the past few videos ago, that at least we did manage to able to gather the majority of those Shine Sprites. I seriously really hate those wind enemies, I still really do. In fact, they always catch me off guard every time whenever I stand still, or even especially noticeable how the fact that sometimes it always gives me a retro throwback, likely due to the forms of that very, very irritating knockback, which even then that might be seems quite illogical for most of you already know about this, but still. But I digress. So, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, because during the forms of the previous parts of this Let's Play so far, at least we did manage to gather quite a few of those Shine Sprites from the past, likely due to the forms of the past few, past 7 videos on this specific Let's Play like these, but even then though, unfortunately though, unlike in Super Mario Sunshine, as you stated before, we have to choose the correct specific episodes in order to be able to accomplish the 100 coin Shine Sprite in particular, which thankfully in the future though, specifically back in the 2000s, like Super Mario Galaxy came around, that the 100 coin, you know, the 100 coin Power Star kind of mission was no longer there. Well, aside from able to get replaced by the Purple Comments mission, specifically, you know, with the Purple Coin challenge comments and stuff like that. And also same applies to Super Mario Galaxy 2 as well, which pretty much does the same thing, but much more less effort on that. Unlike in the first game where it has like a whole bunch of like, well, let's say 15 galaxies to able to actually just to tackle for those missions like so. So even then that makes it a little bit obvious for that specific challenge to that, so. And here comes the most tedious part about this 100 coins grinding, especially noticeable for this level's case. We need to either utilize the rocket nozzle to able to well, trying to grab these coins from up there, or you can able to actually hopefully trying to able to grab the hover nozzle or the turbo nozzle. I think to me the turbo nozzle might be pretty generalized for ourselves. I think we should probably save the water fountain for last, just because, well, we just feel like trying to do so already. But still, trying to able to go for the actual 100 coin shine sprite is a bit time consuming, and also it's a little bit of a tedious process, which thankfully though, Peanut Park was actually pretty easy to able to get used to, just because of the actual keep on destroying all of the bullet bills mortality. And also that can be the same applies for, well, a little bit in Bianco Hills, but still it might be a little bit tedious enough because of how the fact that you need to keep on like exploring through the majority of some stuff. Whereas the only good thing about Bianco Hill's 100 coin shine sprites on that is that you actually have to deal with the actual beehive in order to actually just get even more coins. That could be also same applies actually with the forms of the upcoming levels until whenever we get to the very end of this entire Let's Play. And that can be same applies to Delfino Plaza, the actual hub world itself, which we'll talk more about it until then. But for right now though, let's just go ahead and just get this over with, so that way we could able to actually get ourselves, not only just trying to able to actually get ourselves, well, at this point in time is the fact that we actually got a whole bunch of extra lives at this point in time, which again, super useful though, especially because of how the fact that whenever we move on to the harder set of missions throughout in this game offers us to, well, thankfully though, it will usually be the case, so I know this episode is kind of boring to you guys. I must admit though, I do apologize for that, probably because you know how tedious this goes, especially because of how the fact that, well, despite we actually almost at the halfway point of this game right about now, so hopefully we would be able to make things a little bit faster for ourselves during the next 3 worlds potentially, especially in a Delfino Plaza itself, or something different than that until whenever we come across into that as well, until later on anyway, so. But anywho though, again, there's not much else I could really speak of, I'm afraid, just because of how the fact that let's just hope, can I seriously try to grab that stupid coin right here? This is the last coin onto that, thank you. Oh jeez, that took a lot of effort on that specific, trying to get into that things, I suppose. But then again, though, I do apologize for the awkward dialogue on that sometimes, just because of how the fact that it is still a pretty tedious process in order to actually just to accomplish certain stuff like this. But still, you have to like, well, specifically, if you really want to go for 100% completion of this game, more power to you if you really want to go for that stuff. But probably not for casual players, because most of your time, well, it just gets a little bit of a waste of time. So even then, because it will take me about either 10 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on what world you're going to be entering to. Especially don't get me started on the forms of, well, the next world after this, because even then, I'm sure most people already know about this, what I'm going to be talking about for this one right there. So for the most part though, let's go ahead and grab, and let me guess, I'm off by 2 coins left. Oh jeez, I wonder where the last 2 coins would it be, but then again though, we just have to keep on going for a lot of searching back and forth in between the sewers, or especially noticeable with some different parts throughout. But thankfully though, we could able to, although I could just able to actually just try to get a hover nozzle back, so hopefully we would be able to do another sort of search scavenger hunt where it comes to likely trying to find. Where are they? I swear to God, it's so tedious because you never know where there's coins specific locations as there were. But even then, though, I have no idea where I'm going to be going for this point. It always kind of reminds me of something related to the metal collecting system in Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3 version. Like, if you really want to go ahead and find every single of those medals, specifically if you imagine if you really want to go for the achievement, or the trophy for that matter, depending on what systems you're going to be playing through, either the achievements on the Xbox 360 or the trophies on the PlayStation 3 system, but still, it's just annoying. Ah, there it is right there, all along. I've been searching for about almost like 15 minutes or so, but as a result, what a time waster. What a time waster that is. Anyway, but at least the music is pretty cool though. I'm kind of glad that that particular music will make its return in Super Smash Bros. Brawl and stuff like that, which I appreciate about that specific stuff because this music is really cool. Especially because of how the fact that the actual music in this game is so good. Anyways, we've now fully 100% through everything in terms of Ricco Harbor, so at least we've done that out of the way. And now we're going to be hit on to probably is the most tedious 100 coin shine sprite in the whole entire game. And that is, of course, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. We're about to be heading back onto Gelato Beach for the final time, and because of that, not only do we need to able to get ourselves 100 coin shine sprites, but also trying to get ourselves the final few blue coins. So hopefully we would be able to obtain all of these blue coins for sure throughout, but still, it's just a little bit of a too much to think of. So let's hit on to episode 6 for a moment, just because before we get on to the forms of episode 8 on the other hand though, specifically for the 100 coin shine sprite farming, you do notice is the fact that we still actually come across into that specific yellowy stuff, as you can see, but beyond that, specifically it only happens on episode 6 that Yoshi's egg actually appears. So what you could do with that? Well, basically, what's the actual reward if you manage to able to try to get onto that stuff? Let's not pick up the pear, so let's just throw that away, and let's just grab the pineapple instead. And hopefully, without too much trouble, especially though we still need to avoid those cataquacks, as you can see right there, specifically those red variations, because then again, the red ones are extremely deadly, so there we go. So at least we got Yoshi for that at least, so even then, I could expect it to able to actually save this up until for later, but yeah, apparently Yoshi can able to actually eat up those cataquacks after all. So yeah, that's pretty cool stuff though. Especially that, in addition to able to having ourselves this specific blue coin right down there, I think we might also get ourselves the another 2 blue coins that we might actually come across into. Such as, of course, the next one we need to go after is, of course, once again, much like in Bianco Hills, that we need to take down this beehive, and then when you've done so already, then once again the bees might able to actually go ahead and attack us. So, but as soon as you deal with the last bee in particular, well, it doesn't matter which ones anyway, so even then, oh, can you just, thank you. And that way we get ourselves the next blue coin in the process. But that doesn't end off here, because you know what that specific, that particular blue, cataquack that we've actually on about? Specifically, ever since during the forms of the previous visits onto this world, well, we do need to only require Yoshi in order to actually just to do this, because if you somehow ate up the actual cataquack, or I don't know which methods you can either just deal with, alternatively speaking, but I always attempt to go for a Yoshi method because Yoshi is pretty cool in this game. Especially, although despite with the forms you have to deal with the actual fruit supply system, so at least even then though, not much else to discuss. So anyway, let's just get this shine sprite over with. So here we go. Episode 8 being going back into return. But except this time around though, we need to grind for 100 flipping coins to get that specific shine sprite in general, so you see what I mean about this though, guys, because even then though, the actual main emphasis on trying to able to get yourselves the 100 coin shine sprite is the fact that not only do you need to deal with that specific amount of counterquacks you have to deal with, but also we need to dish out as many of those watermelons as you can possibly can. Which not only does it make things a little bit tedious, mind you, but it's extremely long and it's just tedious all things considered, so. But then again, it's just only for the sake of the forms of how the fact that this is the perfect example why this video has been so long. compared to the forms of how it does it from the previous parts of this Let's Play so far, just because I just want to get these tedious shine sprites in the game out of the way, especially with those very annoying blue coins like these ones right here, that, you know, one of the blue coins just somehow managed to go out of bounds onto that invisible wall, and there's no way we can able to grab that unless if we able to find out the different strategy to able to deal with that. So definitely the most annoying blue coin in the whole entire game, because it just doesn't seem to want to be collective, and I'm almost gonna drown, so I need to get my air back as quickly as I could, and whew, that was pretty close. So thankfully we don't have to instantly get kicked out of the actual level, if you can clearly tell for that point. So at least we can able to grab that blue coin right there, which is self-explanatory, but still, it's just that one over there. It's just annoying, because you never know. Although, kind of think about it though, we've only got about 7 blue coins to go, so even then though, we haven't got that far off on it though, so I guess that makes it pretty obvious for this point right there. So, but then again though, we'll hopefully let Piglet will mention about more details about if eventually the Nintendo Directs will eventually happening and during later on throughout the month. Thank you! God, that blue coin was annoying. Thankfully the other one right there over to the distance is actually pretty similar to the other one that we've got, but except it's a little bit more deeper, and thankfully it does not move at all. I'm guessing it's probably because they want to one of the blue coins needs to copy the actual movements as these fishies, as you can see, they're trying to swim about. But anyways, let's see how much blue coins we got left. I think we've got about 5 left, so, oh boy. But then again though, it's just that I just not a big, well, it's not so much of a big of a deal for me, I feel like, but it's just that for casual players, if they really want to go for either, well, it doesn't matter which playthroughs you're going to be going through, but I really do sorry about this point, guys, because I know that despite this episode is actually long enough as it is, but I just want to get these done before we move on to the next worlds and beyond, so that way I can at least manage to discuss upon some more things to talk about. Specifically, whenever we get on to the 5th world, that's if you can clearly tell. Oh, there's a blue coin there! There was a blue coin there! Ah. But at least we can able to actually grab some of these coins from for that swingy part, and then, well, that's pretty much about it. Oh man, there's gonna be a lot of multitasking, especially how that the reason why we're probably not going to gather that much in terms of shine sprites in this video, because obviously we need to get Gelato Beach and Ricco Harbor to be fully completed first before we dive right into the next worlds ahead. Specifically, that we've already unlocked not only 1 world, not 2, but 3 brand new worlds that we can able to explore. And it doesn't matter which ones I might go for, but for me I always intend to go for one particular order first, by going through the 5th world first, and then after that we'll take on the 6th world and the 7th world for last, before we move on to the forms of the final frontier, which is, of course, you know exactly what I'm talking about, is to go on to Corona Mountain, as you can see in the background, which, you know, that's how we're going to be able to actually just to know what the next objective is. So, well, in terms of likely for storytelling, as far as I'm aware. Well, speaking of the actual stories, actually, though, we're probably not going to be seeing that much cutscenes for a very, very long while, until whenever we get towards at the very end of the game, which, spoiler warning for those of you who want to know what really was going to happen. So either way though, let's just go ahead and get some more blue coins. I think we've already got about 4 left, if I recall correctly, so even then, oh, there's another one in here, and screw you, Cataquack right there, just for the sake of likely trying to hit me in a process. But there's also another one is on here, so even then, no, we can expect to get ourselves, what else, another shine sprite looking shape on that specific buried sand. So yeah, again, I must admit though for this point, guys, there's not much else I can discuss upon. So yes, the actual main emphasis in order to be able to actually succeed the 100 coin shine sprite in this level this means you're gonna have to keep on smashing all these kinds of different watermelons, which that might be seems pretty simple if you really want to go for the fastest method, but unfortunately for the sake of time, it's the most tedious part about this, because in addition to you have to wait for a certain amount of seconds, well, you can still able to grab the insane amount of coins thanks to the forms of those, if you're trying to able to actually jump onto those red cataquacks, which actually leaves us only one coin in particular. So, and I'm once again off by one blue coin left, which I think I accidentally ignored that in during the forms of episode 1. So I'm hoping I can able to find that completely. Oh, there's also another way you can able to kill cataquacks by simply get a lot of emphasis on specifically whenever you use those little sand kind of pop-out kind of objects, if you can clearly tell. So yeah, there's actually multiple ways you can able to actually defeat all kinds of cataquacks, as you can clearly tell. But, you know, you get the idea. By the way, you know with that specific footprint kind of thing, that we already did manage to collect the other blue coin that only Yoshi can allow to get access to, especially with that beehive as well. Unfortunately, you can't do that, however, though, because, well, unfortunately for this mission in particular, Yoshi is nowhere to be found in this mission. So because of that, he only appears in episode 6, according to the forms of the actual strategy guides, or specifically, I did check on Mario Wikipedia recently and able to find out that unfortunately Yoshi was not there on this mission. So I think the only reason being for that is because, well, if Yoshi makes an appearance on this specifically for this mission, it'll make it incredibly broken if you're trying to able to take care of the forms of those annoying cataquacks in general, because, well, I first have thought that was a thing after all, but either way though, it's just come across as off to my mind right there. So jeez. But anyway though, so let's go ahead and utilize this rocket nozzle, so that way we could able to grab some more, you know, regular coins to be at for this point. Although, I first have thought that Ricco Harbor was actually a waste of time for my part, for the actual 100 coin shine sprite was bad enough. Well, this one it might be extremely tedious as it goes by, especially if you really want to, well, go ahead and deal with the easiest part first by simply gathering several of those blue coins while dealing with the cataquacks, as you can see on screen. But it's also that, well, you can able to actually find some of them, but I don't know. I'm just, oh, son of a, I really hate that one of those items just managed to clip right through the wall and I can't able to grab it. So, but what makes it all worse though is the fact that if you every time you die, if you try to go for this 100 coin shine sprite process, well, you're gonna have to collect all that stuff all over again. So, yeah, as a result, good luck for that, specifically on this stage. So, most thankfully though, at least for some degree, that until whenever we get on to the next 3 worlds, including Delfino Plaza itself, at least we can make things a little bit more faster and simple. But then again, it's just Gelato Beach. I will say that the actual tedious 100 coin shine sprite process, it was still this particular level. However, I will say Ricco Harbor was actually the second waste of time when it comes to likely trying to go for 100 coin shine sprite, which I don't know, in the long playthrough sessions on this seem to able to do this system as well. But either way though, that make it a little bit obvious for that point right there. So I get a horrible feeling that, yep, I'm running out of water. Not to be confused as in the actual most highlighted moment, in that I noticed on the Super Mario Sunshine speedrunners that specifically that speedrunners always attempt to play the Japanese version as well as the American version of this game, probably because of how the fact that they have an option, well, they always attempt to have a faster process going, specifically in the Japanese version, and the American version still stuck with 60 Hz mode. Most luckily on the PAL territories on this particular game in general, well, if you manage to play this on the Nintendo Wii as it is, at least there was actually an option. You can able to actually play the game within either 50Hz mode or 60Hz mode, but I can't really tell what's the difference between 50Hz or 60Hz mode in general if I've noticed something, although, to be fair, I just always attempt to go for 60Hz mode because, well, 60Hz is much better than any forms of how it does on 50Hz mode, at least for I can understandable for notable reasons. Well, unfortunately for our N64 versions nowadays, that we are still stuck with, 50Hz mode, which makes everything else seems a little bit slower in certain parts. Well, it does manage to work half the time in my Mario Party copies and stuff, but it's just that it comes off as like, I don't know, redundant or I don't know. So anyways, let's go ahead and try to smash multiple watermelons. Yeah, it's gonna be the most slowest part about trying to do this process, as you can clearly see on screen, because, well, you're gonna have to like constantly waiting until when the actual watermelons is being respawned. I think the biggest recommendation of them all though is the fact that, you know, with the actual big watermelon that we've already did manage to tackle through, specifically whenever we did manage to already done that since then, well, we do need to keep on smashing that particular watermelon in order to be able to actually just to gather even more coins as a result. So yeah, it's not exactly all that in mind. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get some more coins from that specific spot, and let's just hop onto here. There's also a very cool trick that you can only to perform, but I honestly able to actually just only showing you guys just once. This is probably because of this particular sequence, as you can see. So if you're trying to do like a well-timing timing spraying on this sequence, as you can see, not only does it do this like a very cool somersault kind of technique, as you can see, but also, as you can clearly tell, we did manage to gather some of the coins. Well, not all of them, mind you, just because of how the fact that sometimes my timing on these jump rope kind of somersault spinning kind of scenarios wasn't exactly particularly accurate in my honest of God truth. So anyways, since after all, as you can see, we got 82 coins right now, or to be more accurately, 83 coins at this point right now. So we are getting there for this point, folks. We are getting there. So I think, to me though, if you really want to make things a little bit faster for you, if you really want to get the last remaining of those, you know, these yellow normal coins as of lately, well, the best recommendation is the fact that you have to go for a dive, because that way, if you try to do like a normal shoving over kind of watermelons like so, well, it might work half the time, but honestly the diving is the better option, because most of your time, or you can able to actually send those you know, cataquacks to able to actually smash the watermelons for you, but it's just that, well, it seems a little bit dragged and tacked on at points, which even then though, I'm pretty sure it's probably because of how the fact that, well, I'm just a little bit too much of a hasting for myself. So anyway, so, oh yeah, there's another coin right here, and is there another coin in here? Yes, there is, and let me just double check if there are any cataquacks that does contain some of the coins. Let's check on this guy. Of course, he does manage to have one of the coins, as you can clearly tell. And there's another one in here, but unfortunately, due to that pretty awkward camera angle, this means that it allows the one of my coins actually disappear. So, screw you. And I do apologize of how the fact that sometimes my audio commentary gets awfully quiet. But thankfully, we got 10 coins at least for now on, so at least even then we can able to finally hit on to the final stretch of road in terms of the 100 coin shine sprites. As you can clearly tell, we're now going to be aiming for a much bigger watermelon to keep on smashing throughout. We have to do it multiple times, by the way, because even then though, in order to actually just to do it successfully or what have you, well, you just have to keep doing that. And also, as a result, as I mentioned this before, what makes this a little bit slower is the fact that sometimes you always have to keep on waiting until the watermelon grows completely, and then as a result, it's just, and I do apologize with the actual negativity on this so far, guys, because I know I just want to get this done and over with, and especially noticeable because of how the fact that, well, we just want to move on to the next world, because, well, especially noticeable with the next few missions, until likely this Wednesday, so hopefully that'll be the case, especially because of how the fact that, well, I haven't really come across into new set of missions for quite some time at this point right now, so even then I think that maybe seems the case as far as talking of which. So even then though, oh boy, we got 1 coin left, but thankfully we are on the exact same spot, so hopefully we would be able to accomplish this tedium. Whew. There we go. But of course we're not exactly done with this world completely, unfortunately, because, well, seemingly to say, we're off by 1 blue coin left, and thankfully that was on episode 1, or lesser than that, just because of how the fact that, well, I just seem to notice I'm just guessing it correctly, because unlike in the later missions like these ones right here, there's actually a red cataquack in episode 1, or episode 2 for that matter. Well, seemingly to say, as I said before, I accidentally just seem to ignore that enemy at all times, so hopefully we'll obtain that, and just trying to get out of Gelato Beach completely, and then we can able to mainly focusing on the future parts of this Let's Play. So hopefully we'll hit back in here for the final time, and then just trying to get ourselves the final blue coin, and we need to get the heck out of here. So, and then hopefully we'll move on to the next world, thankfully. So, but yeah, that's how it goes basically for this point, guys. It's like, I know, I understand because of how the fact that I know this episode is nothing that particularly special, so there's the red cataquack right here I was on about, and then if you try to step onto him, then there's the final blue coin in Gelato Beach, so there we go. We at least managed to accomplish everything on that world, so I did have a decent time on that world, but then again, it's just the 100 coin shine sprites thing, it's just like, it's just time consuming, I'm telling you. It's just way too time consuming. But anyways, so I think we should probably end things off at this point right now. So even then though, join me next time on Let's Play Super Mario Sunshine. It's the fact that we're going to be hit on to the next world that is specifically hidden to the forms of that pipe down right here. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, fellas.